Hey, welcome into the Pucknologists, episode 104. God, it seems like it's been a hot minute, doesn't it? I'm your host, AJ, alongside the hockey jerk. And just say, we have some things to say, do we not, jerk?
I think that's a fair way of putting it.
Fair assessment. Remember, as always, if you enjoy the content, remember to follow us on our social media channels. Throw us a solid review and 5 stars on iTunes. We would appreciate that. But the big one, of course, subscribe to us on the YouTube channel. And if you'd really like to support the show, you can use the Super Chat option to donate during our live shows. Subscribe to the YouTube channel again. Tell a friend. But if we're offline, you can always donate on Venmo. I'm at AJ-Strong, and 100% of your donation will go to getting Puck Guy a better internet connection. All right? Sounds good? All right, let's go. So what are we at now? Week 582 of the NHL season, week 200 of the lockdown, or if you're following on a calendar, March 141st, 2020. So, Jerk, what have you been doing yourself since the last show?
Nothing. Things are I will say the rate at which things are opening up is obviously going up, but the rate at which I want to get the coronavirus and die has stayed constant. So yeah.
Dear Lord. Well, I've just, I've really only been hanging out with one person. Can you guess who that is?
My wife.
That's right. So let's just get into what's going on. The NHL playoffs are coming. I need a Game of Thrones sounder now. It's, winter is coming. No, NHL playoffs are coming. And with the CBA extension to boot. So the party starts August 1st. How are the playoffs going to work? That's everybody's asking themselves. So we're going to have round robin for the top 4 seeds, and then best of 5 for the bottom 200 seeds. No, how many seeds are there?
It seems like that. Yeah, no. The top 4 in each conference are gonna play a little for fun, little round robin. Round robin dealy there to set the seeding 1 through 4. Which, I mean, whatever. And then I guess we'll call them the bottom 8 in each conference, are going to play, like you said, a best of 5 to basically determine who goes on to the quote-unquote real playoffs and who gets entered into the draft lottery for the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah. So the games of the qualifying round will be played with playoff overtime rules. The
Correct.
Round robin games will be played with regular season overtime rules and shootout rules.
Totally not confusing.
Yeah, not at all. With the ties in the standings broken by regular season points percentage. I mean, are you kidding me?
We got their numbers.
So we got the top 4 Eastern Conference seeds: Bruins, Lightning, Capitals, Flyers. And then in the qualifying round for the Eastern Conference, we're going to see the number 5 Penguins versus the number 12 Canadiens, number 6 Hurricanes versus the number 11 Rangers, the number 7 Islanders versus the number 10 Panthers, and the number 8 Maple Leafs versus the number 9 Blue Jackets. So we might as well just get out of this, just get it out of the way now, Jerk. How quickly does Boston win this? I'm kidding.
Boston is never winning another thing in their life.
All right. So, but the top 4 essentially get a bye with the silly round robin stuff to determine their little seeding. Who you got? Penguins versus Canadiens.
So
here we go.
I'll just say this because this is the only series I actually have something to say extensively about. The Penguins are my dark horse team to win the Stanley Cup. But that said, if there was ever a team to get upset by Montreal, it's Pittsburgh. So I'm really at both ends of the spectrum here.
All right, so gun to your head. Who are you taking in this one?
Oh, Pittsburgh in 2, dude.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll give the Canadiens at least one win, because remember, this is best of 5. Mm-hmm. And this is all obviously it's not like there's travel involved. There is I mean, the sites are just, it's like, here's your one place. So no home cooking whatsoever. So yeah, I'm going to take the Penguins in that one, but I will give Carey Price at least one win. So what, 3-1? Sure. Fine. Whatever. Canes versus Rangers. Jerk.
I'm sorry, Drew Weber. I'm picking the Rangers.
Yeah, dude, I'm right there with you.
Just because I know everybody drinks the Carolina Hurricanes Kool-Aid, but honestly, I don't think I care. Plus the Rangers were hot. Down the stretch. I think they have a very good team. They've got 3 number 1 goalies, and they may have a Hart Trophy candidate in Artemi Panarin. So I don't know.
Oh. Yeah, I'm with you too. So we're both in the same boat right now. All right, 7 Islanders versus 10 Panthers.
My heart wants to say the Panthers, but it's the Islanders just because the Panthers are never allowed to have anything good.
Dude, this matchup to me just screams like, I don't care. Like, I just feel like whoever comes out of this is going to get, their block knocked off in the next round. So I don't really have a dog in this fight, but I'll just go Islanders because I'm just not a Panthers fan by any stretch. I don't know why, but I'll go Islanders. Leafs versus Jackets. Just off the bat, of course, I'm going to go with Toronto because, God love them, they need to win a playoff thing once in a while. Although I guess you could say that for the Blue Jackets. But what's your take?
Well, to your point, AJ, let's say they win this round. They still haven't gotten past the first round because this is round 0.
That's true. That's true. You got me there.
I think that the Maple Leafs, I think they should razzle-dazzle all over the Blue Jackets.
Well, they'll literally be the only team that has home ice advantage, right?
Like, I think they should just roll them, right? But again, I feel like if Columbus can, like similar to last year against Tampa Bay, where if Columbus can establish their game first, then Toronto might have a hard time combating that. So we'll see. But I'm saying probably Toronto.
All right. So we're pretty much in the same boat on all of these. Let's move over to the West. The Blues, Avalanche, Golden Knights, and Stars will be playing in the Robin in the round, if you will. So the conference qualifying rounds, round 0, as Jerk said, will be number 5 Oilers versus number 12 Hawks, number 6 Preds versus number 11 Yolts.
My Yolts.
I was waiting for it. Number 7 Canucks versus number 10 Wild, and number 8 Flames versus the number 9 Jets. So let's start with the Oilers versus the Blackhawks. I mean, this should be fun no matter what, just because we'll see if Rodgers is still like intact after the torrential rainfall. But again, this is a case of there's one team with home ice, and I guess it would be the Oilers. You got the Blackhawks. I'm sticking with the Oilers.
Yeah, the Oilers are my pick too, but I think similar to Montreal, I think Chicago might be able to steal a game, maybe even 2 out of it.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I think this could go 5.
Mm-hmm.
I think it could be a solid match. This is one of those ones where I feel like it's either going to go 5 or it's just going to be a quick 3. You know what I mean?
Yep.
All right. Well, Predators versus Yotes. Jeez, Jerk, who are you taking in this one?
Okay.
Here we go. Oh, wait for it, people.
We got their numbers.
Do you want my unbiased or my biased opinion first?
Whatever you'd like.
Okay. If I'm being totally biased, Coyotes. If I'm being unbiased, Coyotes. Because hold on, let me tell you why. Let me let you know. Ready?
Go ahead.
Let me drop some knowledge on you, my friend. So
here we go.
Check out the big brain on Brad.
Nashville Predators have struggled all year, right? They've they're supposed to be really good. They picked up Matt Duchene in the summer, the whole 9 yards. But they've struggled to even, hold on to a wild card spot. And you're getting against the Arizona Coyotes, which the Coyotes had been playing well, before the pause, obviously. spending a lot of that time without Darcy Kemper. Antti Ranta was down as well. Now they have both of their number one goalies back. The guy who you could argue is their best defensive defenseman, Niklas Hjalmarsson, is back and ready to go. And I just think, I think the Predators, I could really see them take the Coyotes lightly. I mean, let me let you know, the Coyotes will not be taciturn in this series. I'm telling you right now.
I know words. I have the best words.
I really think they can get the job done. It's going to be low scoring, but I think they can get it done. I think Darcy Kemper or Antti Ranta, whoever starts, is going to frustrate the hell out of the Predators players.
A low scoring Yolts game? The hell you say? Yes. I'm gonna God, I know this is there's no false dichotomy to be had here. It's we seem to be in lockstep. I'm gonna go just basically, like you talked about bias versus unbiased. I'm just going with, I'm hailing the power of the Kachina.
You right.
See, that's all I'm saying. Canucks versus Wild. I got Canucks in 2 on this one.
Yep, same. The Canucks are one of those teams who probably deserves to be in the round robin tournament, but just by virtue of the seeding, they're not. So I'm saying
hold
the
on,
same thing, Canucks.
Wait a minute. Wasn't this the team, like, if they had won the final game, they'd be in, and the Golden Knights would be in a round robin?
Yeah, it was.
Or is that the Oilers?
No, it was the Oilers. The Oilers' last game before the pause was against Vegas. Had Edmonton won and Vegas lost, Edmonton would be in the round robin and Vegas would be playing the Blackhawks.
There you go.
So goes to show you how tight the league is.
Now, I thought I saw some hyperbole, if you will.
Hello.
I know words. I have the best words.
I thought that I saw something about Brock Besser wanting out, or there was somebody.
No, it was a trade rumor that sort of fluttered out of thin air. And I mean, rumors come from somewhere, but as I always say, nothing's official until it's official, right? And
True.
I don't know. I mean, maybe if I really sat down, really thought about it, I could probably find you a reason the Canucks would want to trade Brock Besser, but there's no reason for them to. So I'm wondering if, somebody probably, hypothesized on it, and then someone heard that and was like, oh, they're for sure doing it, even though the original source was just sort of, theorizing as opposed to actually strategizing on what that would entail. So I don't really give it a whole lot of weight.
All right. Well, finally, Flames Jets. I put this one in the same categories like Isles Panthers, where I'm kind of like, I really don't have a dog in this fight. I really don't care. I kind of feel like, you know what? If we see the 2019 playoff Johnny Gaudreau, then go Jets. But if Gaudreau makes up for last year's disappearing act, then the Flames advance.
Yeah, this should be Calgary. I think they have a better roster top to bottom. But Calgary finds a way to lose the big game. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's a lot of players on that team that I do like, but I just think Winnipeg is similar to Nashville, where they should have been good and they just kind of struggled to get their footing all year. But I think Winnipeg is going to have a lot to prove, and I don't think they're going to, I don't think Winnipeg wants to be the team that loses in the playoffs to the team that historically can't get it done in the playoffs. And also they have my pick for the Vezina Trophy, Connor Hellebuyck, in goal. So
that's the thing. I mean, you look at Hellebuyck, but then I look at a Flames team that was just absolutely embarrassed by the Avalanche last playoffs. Mm-hmm. So do they have something to play for? Is there going to be that hangover? I don't know, but it's, dude, Vezina. I mean, Hellebuyck, I think, gets the Vezina. So yeah. So, yeah, I think this one is a coin toss. It's going to be, can the Flames score on Hellebuyck? And if they can't, then, boom, Jets are going to win it. But remains to be seen.
Yeah, and I think, like how you mentioned, Johnny Gaudreau needs to, he's been able to take over a series, take over a game on his own in the regular season, but in the playoffs, it's been the complete opposite. It has not it has not been quotidian for him, to say the least. So
I know words. I have the best words.
So I think like a lot of this is going to hinge on Johnny Gaudreau. I think Johnny Gaudreau needs to take over the series by himself.
We'll see if he shows up or if he's abducted once again. Just saying. Truth is out there. So when it's all said and done, who should we even do a prediction for who wins the cup this season?
Nope. At least not until the conference finals.
Okay, fine. But yeah, we'll see. And we'll see if Rogers is dried out by then. I mean, torrential rainstorm in Edmonton flooded part of the arena, jacked up the roof. I'm sure that they've got guys that are working 24/7 to get everything in tippy-toppy shape, but
I mean, there's nothing else going on, so it's not like they have to contend with anything.
That's true. Yeah, it's not like there's a virus or something. Let's go to Elliot Friedman, who is reporting some impact dates. The Stanley Cup final will be between September 20th and October 2nd at the latest, which makes it tentatively that the 2021 camps will open November 17th. So enjoy those 6 weeks off. And next season would start on December 1st. Oh, really? I feel like it's a safer bet. Like you could, okay, here's the team. I'm going to bet on these guys to win the Stanley Cup. I think it's a safer bet would be to say, yeah, there's no way that this next season starts on December 1st.
No, I could see it. I mean, I could also not see it, but I don't think it's totally ridiculous. I'm kind of surprised. I mean, I understand it, the fans in the building kind of thing is going to be a huge whoa, gee, excuse me.
Yeah,
a huge yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, there but I think I'm kind of surprised that the NHL didn't want to start next season on January 1st with the Winter Classic, to be honest with you. Is that partially because I know someone who knows someone who knows someone who might be able to get me a ticket to the Winter Classic? Maybe, but
I just figured they want to get things back on schedule as soon as possible.
Right. Which is why, like you and I have said, for what feels like forever, is how is this, the 2020-21, that's going to be annoying to say. How is it not a shortened season?
Exactly.
I mean, I get you want to make up money. I mean, ostensibly it's going to be a money-making venture.
But the NHL starts first weekend of October, does it not?
You're right.
So it's usually, October 2nd, October 3rd, October 4th, somewhere in there. So you're pushing it out 2 months, which means you're going to hand out the Stanley Cup, about the first week of August, when the ice conditions are at their finest. So how do they start? Because camp is usually mid-September. Are they going to do another enjoy these 6 weeks and then boom, and now we're going to be back? Or is it going to be that the following season is going to start on November 1st? Like they're going to take a 3-year tour before they get this back in line. It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the slow burn, like you're saying, where they slowly get back on track. Because, like I said, the NHL, they are, from what I last heard, they're about $400 million short of their expected revenue for this season. Mm-hmm. So, it's a lot easier to make that up when every team is playing 82 games as opposed to 48 or 56 or, somewhere in that arena. So,
and
doesn't surprise me.
Well, here's my other thing. I think it's probably easier for basketball to get back into their normal rotation of scheduling versus hockey. Here's the thing. What if now I expect the ratings for sports in general to be like some of the biggest ever because people have been waiting so long to see live sports, right? Now, conversely, there might be a small contingent, I am not among them, but there might be a small contingent of fans who are kind of like, you know what, this has been a nice break. Maybe I don't need sports so much in my life. I can't imagine that number is very big, but I could see it. But I'm going to be real interested to see what the ratings are for hockey in July and hockey in, well, obviously not this July, but if we're talking about them starting in December 1st, it would push everything out. Let's see what ratings are like in July and in August. Could be interesting if it's going to be a little different now because there's so many things starting late and doing all that. But what if next season the NBA is actually able to figure out a way to kind of like get their schedule back on track, and the only things you have in July of 2021 is hockey and baseball?
Mm-hmm. Well,
could be interesting.
Could be interesting. I would only watch hockey, obviously. But no, something you said that I was kind of thinking about. So, we're talking about losing money. I mean, the whole thing, really, the crux of this whole issue is that the NHL needs to make up the money that they didn't get. I hate hearing, oh, the NHL lost money. The NHL did not lose money. The NHL just didn't make what they thought they were going to make.
Yep.
So the NHL obviously wants to get back to their projections, but like if I'm Gary Bettman and I'm Don Fear, who's the chair of the NHLPA, I'm kind of wishing that legal sports gambling was starting like now as opposed to like 2 years from now.
Oh yeah.
Because
in
how easy would
every state.
Yeah, because how easy would it be for, Joe Sixpack to sit on his couch and pull up, NHLBet.com and say, you know what? Johnny Gaudreau, 0 points in the series, $100, easy, done.
By the way, that site doesn't exist, so hashtag no free ads. But
of course not.
The other thing, of course, that we're going to be confronted with is no fans in the stands.
I say thank God.
Yeah. But the thing I think has been so kind of funny about this, was it the Rangers? I think it was the Rangers. And I'm sure there's been other teams that they've put out things where it's like, hey, if you could do us a favor and take like 18 videos of yourself, like reacting to a goal, reacting to a bad call, reacting to this, blah, blah, blah. Send in these videos and we're going to use them. And, oh, by the way, if you could like record yourself for 30 seconds going, let's go Panarin or whatever, or let's go Rangers or whatever it is, I'm going to be real interested to see how the broadcasts and everything, or because I mean, these are all going to be national broadcasts, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to like, how are they going to implement these things? It's going to be funny to watch.
It's going to be very interesting. And this is kind of well, we can file this under, part of the minutia. I guess this would make me a pedant. But
I know words. I have the best words.
I'm doing it on purpose, right?
Of course you are.
I'm like no crowd noise. Like swearing is going to be a thing. Now,
hold on. Let's ask John Tortorella about that. Or I'm sorry, John Tortorella about that.
Microphones on the ice might pick up in terms of language for viewers at home.
I really don't give a shit, quite honestly. So
there you go.
But obviously there is something that there is such thing as the 7-second delay, but it's just another tiny reason why if I get the opportunity I'll be watching these games on anywhere except for NBC. And the reason why that is because you go back and you watch on NBC, like the last, I want to say 2 or 3 years, NBC has gone to commercial during the cup passing celebration because of excessive swearing. While Sportsnet in Canada, obviously Sportsnet doesn't want swearing on their, national channels either, but they accept that it's part of the game, and they make it clear very early on, like, look, you may hear some things that are not appropriate for younger audiences, but we're just letting you know it's probably going to happen.
Yeah, and that's my whole thing. That is one of the things that does kind of drive me crazy about U.S. television versus other, parts of the country, or I'm sorry, not country, parts of the world. Just the thing that drives me nuts. It's like, well, we've got 20 different TV shows, whether it's, Grey's Anatomy or The Good Doctor or whatever, where it's like, yeah, we can have all this simulated, like, oh, we're going to knife this guy and we're going to stick this blade into his stomach and all this. They have all this like super duper graphic stuff that could give younger people like bad dreams, or just like a fear
of try people in their 20s.
Yeah, right. I mean, like a fear of doctors or hospital. I mean, there's just a lot of graphic stuff that goes on. But dear Lord, what we can't have on national TV is someone saying, yes, fuck yes, I fucking won. Like that's a bridge too far.
Yeah, and
it's just whatever.
And it's a very weird conversation to have. To me, it's kind of weird that this is a conversation we're having, but at the same time, like, it's so insignificant. Like, it's like if you go not saying to do this, but if you were to go up to a kid and say some swear words, are they hurt? Did you hurt them?
They usually giggle.
Yeah, and I'm not saying like. Absolutely. Like don't swear in front of your kids. Like, it's just not something that they should be open to that early. But at the same time, if a 10-year-old kid heard the F word, I don't think that's the worst thing ever.
No, not in a million years. Not at all. But whatever. And the whole thing that I think is funny, it's like they're going to use fan videos. There's also been a lot of talk both at the MLB level and the NHL level that they're going to be piping in noise. And I'm just kind of like, yeah, well, are fans of like Florida going to notice a difference? I mean, they've been using piped in noise for years. Am I right? Yay?
You're right. I will say, with the pumped in noise, if it can sound natural, then I'm all for it, because
well, from what I understand, they're supposed to be using like all these the audio from, what is it, NHL 20 or a lot of these video games that they actually, these crews go to venues and set up microphones and everything like that and record all of this ambient sound for the video games. From what I understand, they're opening up that entire library for people to use so they can have that available.
Doesn't surprise me. I was going to say, if it can sound authentic, then I'm all for it. But there are some of the crowd and fan noises from the NHL video game that sounds just wrong and like just lame. And so I think if they're going to use that, I could see it get annoying. But if it's going to sound good and authentic, like the point I made to you off screen here was, there was a wrestling show where they used piped in crowd noise and it sounded really good, as if there was actually a crowd there. And I'm like, if they can use that, sign me up,
It's going to be interesting to see how it sounds and feels. I've been watching some stuff for the San Francisco Giants as they've been doing some stuff. The San Francisco Giants, yeah? They've been doing some stuff, some inter squad scrimmaging and whatnot at Oracle Park, and they evidently have had some crowd noise kind of like piped in while they're doing it. It sounds a little, I will say it sounds a little canned, and maybe they need to work on their equalization a little bit or something, but there's definitely, have you ever heard noise when it's coming out of like a can or something, and it has that weird tone to it? That's kind of how the crowd sounds a little bit. Now, full disclosure, I'm having fun with the whole thing of where like the NHL put it out for people to do videos of themselves cheering and everything like that. Full disclosure, NBCSN Bay Area, who broadcasts, the local teams, let's just say that they put out the word that they wanted some fans to be involved on a call to record some things like that. And I may or may not have participated, is what I'm saying. I don't know. I look forward to watching the Giants and the A's is all I'm saying this season. Well, the Giants, a little bit of A's. So with all this stuff, with the playoffs and everything like that, the other big deal was a CBA extension? What's all the minutia of this? School everybody, if you will.
Yeah. So,
or I should say,
Whip it out.
So yeah, part of the contingent on the return to play being ratified was the extension of a CBA. So now for those who don't know, the CBA was set to expire, I believe it's September 15th of 2022, but that is no longer the case. They tacked on an extra 4 years to the CBA, so now it'll be expiring again, I assume September 15th of 2026, and by that point, it'll be the longest stretch of time that there's been labor peace. Since Gary Bettman's been commissioner, but I'd have to go back and do some homework. Maybe since the NHL is, since the players have been part of the union. So, that's obviously really encouraging. And it's key to know too that the return to play vote and the CBA extension vote was the same vote. So if you said no to one, you said no to both, which I think is really interesting. But a couple little nuggets, obviously coming out of the CBA extension, they reworked kind of the recapture penalty for players with big contracts that retire. They reworked how qualifying offers for restricted free agents work, which, I guess, a lot of people are saying that, had Timo Meier been a restricted free agent this summer, it would have been different when his deal expired. But, as I've said on the podcast many times before, I don't see Timo Meier's contract after the current one he's on being an issue, so whatever. But what I think is interesting, and again, this is really digging deep here into the minutia, but no longer, in 2012, they implemented, I'm sure you're familiar, AJ, the UFA talking period, where 5 days before July 1st, you could have conversations with teams to try and hammer out a contract and then have it signed on July 1st. Part of the CBA extension is the talking period has gone away again. To be honest, I don't know the mindset behind that, aside from wanting the Sportsnet and TSN free agent frenzy shows to have higher ratings and more intrigue.
You're right.
Which I'm all for, because I am a fan of those free agent frenzy shows. And so it kind of sucks when 2/3 of the signings are all broken, on June 30th. So, there's a lot of – this CBA had a lot of little things. Obviously, Olympic participation for 2022 and 2026, which is huge. That's a huge win for the NHLPA, obviously. And then there was one more that I know was a big
that's
deal.
a huge win for the NHLPA, but doesn't the NHL kind of not big fans of that? Because what if some superstar gets injured?
Yeah, well, the big thing was that the NHL feels that, if the players are going to play in the Olympics, then the IOC should have to cover, the travel and the insurance costs.
Sure.
Which I can get down with that.
Yeah.
So that's the, I guess, public reason why the NHL didn't go to the Olympics in 2018. I'm of the belief that South Korea may have been a little too close for comfort on that one. So I don't know, but there's this, and I've said this, God, I don't know how long I've been saying this, but I'm definitely on record. Go back and look. I've always believed that we weren't going to have another lockout, that they were going to find a way to either extend the CBA or get a new one done. I didn't think we were geared towards another lockout. And, it's encouraging to see that the PA and the league were able to get it done. But, as we talked about earlier, AJ, when you spend 4.5 months doing nothing, might as well get talking.
Yeah. Well, hear me out. You know what? No matter where the Winter Olympics are played, just because, we know where most of the players are. Hear me out. Quebec Olympic Village. And everybody just goes to Quebec every 4 years for a couple of weeks and plays everything there, no matter where the rest of the Winter Olympics are played. There you go. Just do it there. But I think the bottom line question everybody wants to know about, Jerk, is what does this new CBA mean for compliance buyouts?
Hate you.
Hey, guy.
Okay.
It means nothing. Moving on.
Yes, it means nothing. Compliance buyouts were never going to be a thing. Where they, all the time that people spent talking about them during the pause was for nothing, because they were never going to be a thing anyway, and now they really aren't going to be a thing, because They just aren't, and they never have been. Now, that said,
so stop talking about it.
That said, sir, considering how the cap is going to stay at $81.5 million for the next 2 years, I'm kind of surprised. Maybe not compliance buyouts, but I'm kind of surprised the NHL didn't try to figure something out. You know what I mean? Because for reference, back when the current CBA was ratified in 2013, that first year, the salary cap was 63 million. But because a lot of teams prepared for the cap to go up and it didn't, you were allowed to spend to 70 million. And so I'm kind of surprised that the NHL didn't do something like that, just because, we've spent a lot of time talking about the Sharks and their cap problems that are going to have, but there's with the exception of maybe a third or even a quarter of the league, pretty much everybody is going to have some kind of cap crunch they got to figure out.
Yeah.
And we could definitely see an addendum to the CBA extension, but I'm kind of surprised that there wasn't something thrown in there about softening the blow on the teams who are against the cap.
Yeah.
Because as I said, it is at least 2/3 of the league.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And we'll see what happens in a couple of years after this extension, after hopefully everything's back on track and back online. Remains to be seen. But hey, let's move on to some shark. That's why people come here. It's for the shark stuff. So that's what I think anyway. Right. And now we bring in Shang Pang. Welcome in. He comes from, somewhere. This guy has more bylines than the New York Times recently, but we'll get into that in a minute. How are you doing, Shang?
Very good. How about yourself?
Keeping it inside. That's what we're doing. Keeping it inside. So first off, let's talk about the Sharks, or lack thereof, in the playoffs, as you know. What is your current vibe with this team? I mean, they're kind of hampered a little bit now that the salary cap is going to be flat for a coach, and we know that there's some guys on the team that those contracts have Wilson kind of painted into a corner. How do you think Wilson and we'll get to the coaching staff in a sec, but how do you think, what moves do you see happening?
Well, kind of hampered is generous. If only kind of, but one path that they appear to be headed toward is hoping that guys just kind of come back and are healthier and have better seasons, which is not an unreasonable hope. Erik Karlsson, Logan Couture, reasonably young. Tommy Hurdle obviously is still young. Brent Burns is older, but Brent Burns is a fitness freak, so he may be able to come back too. So we'll see. That's one possible way. The second path is to kind of get underneath one of these contracts, whether that's Brent Burns or Vlasic's, and see if you can trade one of those guys off. Pennies on a dollar, but just get rid of that contract and then kind of start over a little bit and fill in that money with other players. I think though that they'll probably have to go with the first route of just kind of hoping that these these big name players that they have can kind of come back and be at least 95% of what their reputation suggests.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was kind of something that I was thinking about too, and AJ and I've talked about that a bunch, where it's like these guys you mentioned, obviously Couture, Karlsson, and even Timo Meier, if they just have like average seasons, the apples probably fall out of the tree a little bit differently.
It definitely will help, and also just health too. We're about to talk about the coach too. Under Bugner, the Sharks played much better team defense, and in turn, the results for the goaltending got a lot better. Aaron Dell and Martin Jones, both statistically, were much better under Bugner. But of course, the goal scoring dried up. And the goal scoring will dry up if you lose Logan Couture, Tommy Hurdle, Erik Karlsson for the season. And by the end of the season, you have a first unit power play of a 40-year-old Joe Thornton and a bunch of tape.
Well, not only that too, and then you watched 112 points leave before the season started. And
yep, absolutely.
So that's, when you go from second in the NHL and scoring to like 27, 28, that's going to be bad. The contracts that you mentioned, though, with this flat cap, and everybody, it's not a secret, the corner that Wilson is in, and you're talking about moving contracts for pennies on the dollar. I mean, everybody knows the situation Wilson's in. Anybody at this point, I think, is going to look to take advantage of Doug Wilson at this point. And we've seen all the times that Doug Wilson has come out on top of the big name trades.
Yeah, but this might be kind of the end of that, because, of course, something else that Doug gave, and it was the price of getting kind of like favorable deals from Brent Burns when that was signed, for example. But these limited trade clauses, these 3-team trade clauses that these contracts have. And so if Brent Burns if you find a good deal for Brent Burns to say, I don't know, the Islanders, and he doesn't want to go there, then.
Well, hold on. Jerk, where you been trying to send Burns for the last 6 months?
Oh, where haven't I been trying to send him? No,
you had one in particular.
Yeah, no, I think I see Winnipeg being a really good fit just by virtue of, last summer they lose their entire right side of the decor, and that includes Dustin Byfuglien, who is just a menace on the blue line in terms of offensive production. And I don't know, to me, I think a right-handed, offensively minded defenseman like Brent Burns, I think is almost like it's as easy as 2 + 2 = 4. Like, it just seems like a perfect fit.
I agree, and I agree. Of all the bad contracts, Burns is actually the most tradable, even though he's the oldest of that group, because Carlson makes too much and for too long. Vlasic's game has declined maybe a little too much to justify paying him that much. Jones's game has gone off the deep end. Burns's game, Burns had one bad year this past year, and so I think of all those contracts, Burns is still the most tradable. But of course, does he want to go to a Winnipeg? Does he want to go to an Edmonton? Places like that. I don't know.
Well, and who is it that you were trying to pull out of Winnipeg for this?
Nikolai Ehlers.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Which I can dream, right?
Yeah, you can dream. But I think though I guess if you want my overall take, the pulse of the situation, there's obviously a lot of talk that the 2014-15 Sharks, they missed the playoffs. Doug Wilson was able to make a lot of little tweaks, adding Martin Jones, adding Joe Ward, tweaks that resulted in the team being Stanley Cup finalists the next year. The problem, though, with this current Sharks team is that there isn't as much cap space to work with, and they have players that, when we talk about 2014-15, and yes, Patrick Marleau was old already, Joe Thornton was old already, but as they proved in the following years, they were still high-end top players, and so they could still help and be part of the solution. Joe Thornton is not part of a Stanley Cup winning solution, in my opinion. At least not at 16 minutes a night. Patrick Marleau, same thing. Those are both legendary players that still have something to add. Can still play some good hockey, but those just there just isn't the support around them like the 2014-15 Sharks. There was still a lot of good depth players, a lot of top end star players. This Sharks team right now has still has star players, but just doesn't have that middle class, doesn't have that depth. So I'm not sure. We'll see what happens, but yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say that I'm optimistic.
Well, and you talked about Burns being one of the most movable contracts. Again, I go back to the idea of people know that Wilson is a little bit over a barrel. What do you say to the people? and Jerk and I have gone through this before. There's so many people that sit there on social media and go, oh, well, Burns, the solution is easy. You expose him to Seattle. And it's, why would you let this valued piece go for nothing?
Though you can do a lot with that $8 million. If you're smart with that $8 million, you can sign 2 to 3 players that an aggregate can outperform Brent Burns. But it's still a question of, will Seattle take him for free? And we don't know. This coming season is going to be big for that. If Brent Burns plays like he did last year, I don't think anybody's going to take him for free. But if he can turn, but if he can turn around his game, and he may not be Norris Trophy Brent Burns next season, but if he can get close to that, then maybe someone will take a chance, for free, because again, he's going to be 36 next year, so you're not going to get a lot for him no matter what. But there is something in terms of, if you can even get rid of these contracts for free, or like you said, pennies on a dollar, you have to think about it. Even though, it's not that I don't think Vlasic is a bad player. I think Vlasic can still play. But is he a $7 million defenseman? And do you want to be paying that for, what is it, the next 6 years? I'm looking at that. I can't believe what I'm looking at. You do not. You do not want to be paying that. He hasn't been a $7 million defenseman for a couple of years at least. So if somebody says to you, "Hey, we will just take the contract on, no strings," I think in most of these cases you have to think about it.
Well, you got to think about it.
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
So the thing is, for at least, and we'll move on here, but I just go, you know what? You got a second and a third for Douglas Murray. You can get something around that for Brent Burns, but I digress. So Darren Dreger reported on Twitter that the Sharks have extended Bob Boughner as head coach while hiring former Oilers assistant, Chicago Wolves head coach Rocky Thomspson for the coaching staff. A little bit of history with Vegas there, which you are familiar with. Yet Doug Wilson responded saying, at this time we have nothing official to report in regards to our coaching staff for the coming season. The process of identifying candidates to fill out our staff is ongoing. Now, the key line for me is the process of identifying candidates to fill out the staff. Not fill the head coaching spot, but the staff. So Darren Dreger, not known to beat around the bush or put out misinformation. You think that Bugner is probably fait accompli?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I would guess that they would like to announce all the hirings together. I'm not sure why that's important. You're not going to have a big press conference, a big ado in the middle of a pandemic, and announcing your new head coach and his staff. But the Sharks are going to shark that, I guess. So,
well, you know what? They'll announce it while they're wearing like new jerseys or something.
Maybe, maybe. Maybe they'll introduce some new, another stealth jersey or something. I don't know.
There you go. Oh man. Well, it remains to be seen. I'm sure that there'll be some sort of press conference. And speaking of Doug Wilson, finally inducted into the NHL Hall of Fame. Do you think they made him wait long enough, or should have been a little longer?
No, this is just about right. Doug. Honestly, Doug. If we look over his, he was inducted as a player, right, not as a builder. So we can't credit him for the incredible work he's done with the Sharks for the last 17 years. So we can't credit him for that. It's all as a player. And as a player, unfortunately, he kind of tapered off in his 30s when he joined the expansion Sharks. So he was legitimately, though, a top 5, top 10 defenseman all throughout the 80s with a very good Chicago team that just had the misfortune of having to, run into the Oilers dynasty. So he definitely is a Hall of Fame player. I know there's a lot of people out there who kind of question that, and I think that that's flat out wrong. But he wasn't the what you call a first ballot Hall of Famer either, and that's no slight toward him. There's very few guys who are really worthy of being first ballot Hall of Famers. But so it's certainly a fully deserved accomplishment, and I hope that he's going to have the full works, the Hall of Fame, the banquet, all that kind of stuff. Hope that's not blunted by what's going on now with the coronavirus. So because when you get that kind of honor and you wait as long as he has, you deserve full honors.
Yeah, nobody will want to see that virtually, but yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Not a first ballot, maybe not a 20 ballot either, but we'll get there. So, we've had all these announcements. We have you on here because it feels like you have maybe an announcement yourself. Yes.
All right. Well, today I will be launching my own Sharks website. It's called San Jose Hockey Now, and it's going to be comprehensive 24/7 Sharks coverage. Most of the content will be free. There will be some subscription content. And so then at that, you might think, well, why subscribe? Why spend your money? Well, if you like my work, I urge you to subscribe. That's number one. I'll be honest, I was this close to going into another field before getting this opportunity to start San Jose Hockey Now. But I love this job, and I do believe that I provide compelling work. And so subscribing gives me a chance to continue to provide this work. And so to give you a taste of what's going to be on the site this week, you'll find out why Johan Hedberg thinks Martin Jones is still a Vezina caliber goaltender. You'll find out which Shark asked to be traded at the trade deadline last year.
Who?
You'll find out how much more ice time the Barracuda gave Sasha Chemilowski over Ivan Chekovich last year. That's sort of the holy grail of AHL stats, time on ice. You'll find out what one of the smartest people in hockey thinks is wrong and right with Erik Karlsson, Brett Burns, and Vlasic.
Oh.
And so that's all just this week. And so anyway, when the new season starts, I'm going to be there on site and credentialed at every practice, every home game, some road games, every playoff game, and if there are any playoff games for the Sharks next year, and the draft. And so I think it's a pretty good package that you'll be getting for just $3.49 a month, $29.99 a year. You're going to get some of the best Sharks coverage around.
I'm down with that. And and I've said it many times. It's been said on this show, it's been said on After Dark that you're definitely one of the guys that we look forward to reading. We respect what you do on there, and it's educational without like weighing you down. I mean, I'm a moron, and so you guys break things down that even I can understand it, and I learn something from it. There's some guys that they dive a little too far into, whether it's Corsi or Fenwick, or then I'm like, okay, I don't even know what this guy is talking about. But I like the way you break down plays on Twitter, and if you don't know, at Shang_Pang on Twitter. But I enjoy your work immensely. I know Jerk does.
Absolutely.
Yeah, one of the few people out there that's definitely worth paying attention to day in and day out. So I definitely look forward to this. I'll be subscribing now that it's launched. Definitely something worth reading because, you get what you pay for, kids. Now, I'm not, it's like you can sit here and go, oh, well, listen to AJ suck Sheng's ass. Look, the dude is worth reading, and I'm going to call that out. Everybody knows that I call it like I see it, balls and strikes. There are some people working for other sites that we know have no business whatsoever writing anything about hockey. Sheng is one of those people that comes along and knocks it out of the park every time. So I look forward to this, but I have to ask you though, what does this have any impact on any of your other bylines? It's like some people might be familiar with you from doing work in Vegas, doing work in LA, doing work for The Point, doing work for Fear the Fin. Does any of that stuff change? Is this going to be your one-stop shop for Sheng stuff? Or are you still going to be on other bylines?
Oh, yeah. Thanks for asking that question. Yeah, so I could clarify that. Yes, this will absolutely be 24/7. If you happen to like me, this will be 24/7 me. So I won't be writing any more for The Point Hockey or for Fear the Fin. I might have occasional byline here and there for, I do some work for NBC News, but no, this is all my attention will be on this site. When I was at Fear the Fin, I wouldn't necessarily write every day. There wasn't a motivation to. Wasn't paid enough. I know, to be honest, but here, it's a kind of a contract, right? That you agree with your subscriber. A person who subscribes, and you tell them you're going to get 24/7 daily coverage. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling your listeners, and that's what you will get, and that's what you'll get from me.
That sounds fantastic. Well, it's sanjosesharks.com.
Yep.
And so you can go check that out right now. It is launched, and I'm assuming your first piece is up?
Yep. Well, the first one will be a little bit of a welcome letter, and then we'll get into the first article. Big article today will be my interview with ex-Sharks goaltending coach Johan Hedberg.
Excellent. I look forward to that. Come on. If anybody can make us believers that after the last 2 years, that Martin Jones can bring it back. I'll listen to a little bit of the Moose. All right.
Well, yeah, the Sharks have no choice, right, with Jones' contract, right? So therefore, you as fans have no choice either. So, got to keep believing.
Yeah, what are they going to do? Come out after like 4 years ago? You know, we made a terrible mistake. But anyway, well, thank you so much, time. Or, you know what? Hold on.
I know words. I have the best words.
Thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to reading you. And thank you for joining the show.
Yep, appreciate it. Thanks so much, AJ. Thanks so much, Jerk. And I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right.
All right. Take it easy, man.
Take it easy.
So that was fun talking to Shang Pang now of sanjosesharks.com. I look forward to reading that. I mean, what did he say? $30 a month? I mean, $30 for a year? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, especially because it's Sheng. I mean, it's, he kind of mentioned where it's like, why would you pay for something like this? And, like
you get what you pay for.
Well, and that's the thing. And to a degree, I can relate to that. But at the same time, it's kind of like, Sheng is he's a worthwhile read. He's a good follow on Twitter. Like you said, he breaks down the game really well. He's very informative and very educated. And it's definitely going to be worth the price tag. And I'm excited, for him because he's obviously one of our good buddies. And it's a tough industry to get into, especially in this area. And he's done a good job. So I'm pumped for him.
Well, and I'm one of those guys where I pay for satellite radio because I want to hear NHL Network or what. I know that I'm not going to hear Sharks talk on the local sports stations. So, but local sports, that's free, but I don't listen to it. I would rather pay and hear some NHL Network on Sirius. So, and at least then, I've heard Jamie Baker, I've heard Kevin Kurz, I've heard a gamut of people on the NHL Network on Sirius. So yeah, man, we should really be getting kickbacks for all these promotions. But anyway, the one thing that I wish I would have asked him, and this is on me, should have asked him who was getting his vote for the awards. I mean, I know like the Selke list comes out a little bit later today, but we do know the nominees for like the Calder, the Vezina, Adams, Lindsay, Masterton, Bing. Who are you taking? Just like real quick. Okay, you got God, I can't even pronounce some of these names. Quinn Hughes, Cale Makar, and Dominic Kubalik. Yeah, okay, I thought so. Who are you taking in that? And does Makar have an unfair advantage because he got so much playoff last season?
Ugh. Honestly, I feel like with Hughes and Makar, you flip a coin, but
so Kubalik is not even in the conversation.
No.
Like that was well, we have to put 3 people in here. So
I mean, Kubalik, like I feel definitely impressive. I mean, 30 tucks, 30 tucks as a rookie coming over from, I believe, the Czech Republic. So that's certainly impressive. But yeah, between Makar and Hughes, I think you flip a coin. I think I'm inclined to go with Hughes, but I don't know. It's so tough. I feel like whoever wins, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, as long as it's one of those two. Put Kubalik on there, everybody was like, "Oh!" But I lean Hughes too because I think that like Cale Makar benefits from seeing some of that playoff time, and I think he's surrounded by a more talented roster.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I would kind of lean towards Hughes. Okay, Vezina. Vasilevsky, Rask, Hellebuck. I mean,
it's got to be Connor Hellebuck.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, yeah. Rask only played 49 games. Vasilevsky struggled to start the year. Connor Hellebuck has been consistently good all year. Really good save percentage, really good goals against.
And on a team that gives up a lot of shots and doesn't get off a lot of shots.
Yeah, faced the most high danger scoring chances of any goalie in the league, and also stopped the most high danger scoring chances of any goalie in the league. And
again, that's another one where I feel like, okay, we need 2 other guys to put in here. What are we going with?
Yeah, and also like you said, AJ, the Jets weren't a bad team this year. They just weren't very good. And Hellebuck's probably the reason that they're in 9th and not like 13th.
You're right. Jack Adams. All right. Coach of the year. You got Cassidy from the Bruins, Tortorella from the Blue Jackets, who we heard from earlier, and Alain Vigneault this time from the Flyers.
I feel like Travis Green, the coach of the Canucks, would like a word.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I looked at this and I was just like, wait, dude, the Bruins went to the final last season.
I'm inclined to say definitely not Cassidy, because Boston is a one-line team. I don't care what anybody says.
See,
but
and Tortorella doesn't get nice things, so I feel like Elaine is going to get it just based on process of elimination.
Yeah, I would say John Tortorella is definitely a close second, because you look at the Blue Jackets. I mean, they lost Duchesne, Bobrovsky, Panarin, Dzingel. I mean, they lost a lot of guys, and they still were.
Let's be honest. Tortorella just got this nod because the Blue Jackets swept the Lightning last playoff.
I feel like he did a really good job, though, with a not so great roster compared to what they had last year, right? But to your point, I've never been a fan of the Flyers, but I think Alain Vigneault did a lot with that roster, and so I think he should probably win it.
Agreed. Ted Lindsay Award, MVP as voted on by the players. You got Draisaitl, McKinnon, Panarin. Now, this is voted on by the players, not, the writing association. So, I mean, it's basically asking all the players, who's the guy you don't want to deal with? And I got to say, after this season, I'm leaning Panarin.
Really? Because I was going to say not Panarin.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
No, finally, we can get into this.
Don't get me wrong, Artemi Panarin, very good, definitely MVP caliber season. But I look at, he had a good year, right? But it's like, I look at, the MVP, it's the idea that you are the reason that you are the sole reason that your team is good. You know what I mean? That's the idea.
Yeah, but you can't say that about McKinnon. There's a lot of talent in Colorado.
Let me get there. But you look at, Mika Zibanejad, my friend, had a good year. Ryan Strome had a good year. Tony DeAngelo had a good year, and like I said earlier, they've got Shesterkin, Georgiev, who both had really good years in goal. So it's kind of hard to say that one. It's kind of hard to say that one guy, really, really iced the cake there. But I think Nathan McKinnon, just go on to Cap Friendly and look at Colorado's injured reserve list. Colorado is missing Nazem Kadri. They're missing Mikko Rantanen. They were missing Gabriel Landeskog, and they're missing Philip Grubauer. They're freaking starting goalie. And
you're saying McKinnon kept the boat afloat?
McKinnon absolutely kept the boat afloat. He was on pace. I believe if he didn't hit it, he got really close. Yeah, he was on pace to score 100 points this season, assuming they got to 82 games. And you think about it, Landeskog and Rantanen go down, and so he was with, Andre Burakovsky, Jonas Donskoy, Matt Calvert, Vladislav Kamenev. He was with all these different guys and still put up a crap load of points. And so I think on the principle that
don't forget those two shifts he had with Matt Nieto, but go ahead.
Right. And Matt Nieto as well. Yes. And JT Compher and Tyson Jost and, probably Nemesnikov. But my point I'm trying to make is that, it seemed like everybody in Colorado found their way on injured reserve at one point, and McKinnon was like, nope, we're fine. We're just going to keep it rolling here. So I would give it to McKinnon, but I think Leon Draisaitl is a very close second, just because when Connor McDavid went down, Draisaitl upped his game, and I didn't think he could up his game from where he was, but he somehow did.
Oh man. Okay, this is one we're gonna have to write down for later. So you go McKinnon, which I think is a good call. I don't know. I'm going to tell you why you're wrong and why it's Panarin, because the Rangers play in the East.
Maybe.
Could be. They see him a lot more, is what I'm saying. All right, Masterton, a trophy, dedication to hockey. You got. Do we even need to talk about this? I don't give a shit about this.
I want it. So,
Oscar Lindblom and Bobby Ryan.
I want to say Bobby Ryan.
That's me too.
But I think it's going to be Oscar Lindblom, just because he had bone cancer and was able to come back from it, and not to dilute the comeback story of Stephen Johns or Bobby Ryan, but I just think Oscar Lindblom. I don't even want to say I think he had a bigger hill to climb, because they all had big hills to climb, but that's what I'm going with. But dude, at the same time, Bobby Ryan's first game back from, leaving the substance abuse program, and he put up a hat trick. I mean, that's killer. You know what I mean? And I've always liked Bobby Ryan, and so I'm wondering if now that he got the help he needed, I'm wondering if he can, get back to being a 30-goal guy.
Yeah, I kind of lean towards you too as well. It's like Lindblom, but I think Bobby Ryan is a close second.
Yeah, but that's the other thing too, is even Stephen Johns, like the hill that Stephen Johns climbed the last 2 years is really impressive as well. But I just think it's a matter of it's not talked about as much, and so people don't really know enough about it to make a decision.
Yeah. Finally, Lady Bing, most gentlemanly player. Finalists are McKinnon from the Avs, Matthews from the Maple Leafs, O'Reilly from the Blues. For this one, I'm going to take Matthews.
I'm going to say Ryan O'Reilly.
All right. Well, the reason why I'm not saying McKinnon is because he's already up for an award. It's so rare to see a player win 2 awards like this.
Connor McDavid has entered the Zoom call.
Right. Well, I mean, Joe Thornton, but those weren't, those were different, those were like statistical. Well, one of them was, but anyway, look, hold on, wait a minute. Did I get that wrong? The Hart and the Ross, are those voted or are those statistical based? Like
the Hart is voted. The Hart is voted.
Yeah, the Hart is voted, but the Ross is stats. So
yes.
Anyway, yeah, it's insanely rare to see a guy win 2 voted on awards. So that's why I say McKinnon's out. I go with Matthews simply because what he did with the whole Marlowe jersey in the All-Star game. That was
2 seasons ago.
Don't care. I remember it. Other people will too.
Yeah. Cheap way to get a crowd reaction.
Oh, I know. It's pandering. But why does O'Reilly get it?
I just think because he, Ryan O'Reilly, he's a very, very tough player. He plays a very physically demanding position. He's a center. He kills penalties. He's on the power play. Ryan O'Reilly's on the ice a lot. And historically, he historically has kept his penalty minutes really low. And when he has taken a penalty, it's been, not anything egregious. I think back 2013, 2014, he had 1 minor penalty that whole season, and it was for playing with a broken stick. Just to give you an idea. I
feel like there's a couple times that either Vlasic or Marlowe should have been up for the award.
Yeah, absolutely. But now that you said Austin Matthews, I think about how this year at the All-Star game he was injured and he still showed up and participated.
Yeah, and that porn stash will ruin people.
I was going to say, based on that, I could concede a vote to Austin Matthews based on that.
All right. Well, let's move on then. Another thing we got into a little bit with Sheng was Darren Dreger's report of Bugner being the head coach, getting Rocky Thomspson in there. I'm a little surprised that Dreger threw this out there just because, well, I mean, obviously you want to be the first to report the news. Everybody's got that whole, everybody needs that feather in their cap, clout chaser. Dreger has all the clout in the world. I don't know. How do you feel about Bugner getting an extension and the interim tag removed when you still take into account that there are a lot of coaches with some decent pedigree still available out there?
I like it. I don't think.
How funny would it be if Gerard Gallant got hired as like an assistant?
I don't think that Bugner gets enough credit for the work that he did, in spite of everything going on. And Shang obviously mentioned that, and I know our friend Kevin Kurz tweeted about that as well. But, Bugner did a lot of good stuff with this, Picasso painting of a roster.
Well, not only that, it's like you had the roster that he was given. You had the injuries that ended up plaguing him a little bit. You also had the fact that it's like he wasn't able to pick any of his coaching staff. It's like, here's the Barracuda guys, have fun.
Yeah. And I think, a lot of people go back to how his time in Florida wasn't very good. But honestly, as I said earlier, no matter how good of a roster Florida puts out, they can never seem to do anything right. So I don't really put that on him. Yeah. And, I think with a full season, a full training camp, a roster that he is going to, be able to manipulate his own way, his own assistant coaches, as you alluded to. I think we could see something good from Bugner. Plus, really, the genesis of this whole thing, and the most important part that people don't talk about enough, the players like playing for him.
True that. And you talk about Florida too. Can I query you this? Is
Sure.
that how it works? May I ask you a query? Something like that? How many Stanley Cups, how many rings does Joel Quenneville own?
At least 3.
And how's he doing with Florida?
Exactly.
So I'm just saying. All right. Well, again, Doug Wilson said at the time there's nothing official to report. We'll see what happens between now and whenever something is official to report. We'll see if Darren Dreger lets us know of another member of the coaching staff is going to be happening, because remember, there's been a lot of talk and some of it has come from us. I said from the get-go that once this was all over, I thought without a doubt Ricci was going back down to the CUDA. Sommer, of course, going back down to the CUDA. Nabby, I was on the fence about. I think it comes down to Nabby, like if he's interested in traveling or if he likes staying here in San Jose and not so much travel and likes working with the young guys. Who knows if they can talk Nabby into taking that role? But that Nabby was the only guy in my book that was kind of like odds on that. Yeah, I think they'll probably stick him, keep him up high, but remains to be seen. Let's move on to the next few bit of notes. Well, I should say, let's just finish off with some kind of news and announcements. We talked about it. Doug Wilson's been inducted to the NHL Hall of Fame. So I think this one's for you, Doug.
Oh, good for you.
Took you long enough, pal. The Sharks have finally launched their Team Shop site, which we reported about a few weeks back on tealtownusa.com. And while the selection is still thin, items are being added almost daily. We've even seen some game-used items up there. I don't know if that's going to have any impact on an equipment sale, which at this point is up in the air as far as I know. So there's the site for you, sjteamshop.com, if you want to go check that out and see what they've got going. I've seen some nice team-issued and game-used jerseys up there, and they don't last for very long. So if you're interested in picking up one of those, you might want to keep an eye on the website. The Sharks Foundation is holding a virtual wine event. If you're unaware of this, you might know or be aware of their annual Sampling with the Sharks event. Now, let's get into this for just 2 seconds. For this virtual wine event, Sipping with the Sharks, and of course the SIP of Sipping stands for Shelter in Place, but they are selling these attendance or they're selling the Zoom URL and password to attend this. It's $800, and that's for 2 people. Now, here's my bone of contention, if you will. What if you're just one person and you'd like to attend this? I mean, I guess you have to get a friend to come over and do it. I don't know. But what if it kind of sucks that there's not an option for one person. Then again, it says each spot is for 2 people. Who's to say that the person who buys a spot doesn't have 3 people over and there's 4 of them there? Like, you know what I mean? Who knows how that's going to roll? The other thing too is with this virtual event, there's limited player involvement. Mm-hmm. You know, when you go to the event live at the tank, you can basically talk to more than half the Sharks and almost all the Barracuda. Why is a virtual event with limited player involvement $400 a person when the live event that you get to talk to everybody is $375 a person? You know, now I get it. This is all for charity, and I'm totally down with that. But do you think, Jerk, that this is is this a good move for the Sharks, especially at an increased price and when so many people are struggling right now, you know, financially?
Yeah, honestly, it makes 0 sense to me. I mean, personally,
I want to add some context. Like they say that it comes with like an autographed puck from Burns, and wow. I should mention that The people that they have jotted down now as we're talking, it's Brent Burns, Doug Wilson, Dan Rusanowski, and Randy Hahn. Those are the only names that they have announced. That's not to say that there won't be more people there, but I just wanted to offer that context there. And part of your purchase price includes them sending you $250 worth of wine. That's what they say the estimate value is, and the autographed puck. I still think if you break down the purchase price on that, I don't know. Is this a little too much, Jerk?
Well, there are a couple of different ways to look at it. Number one, you're paying $800 to drink wine, which is like, I mean, no pandemic or no pandemic, I'm not paying $800 to drink wine. A, because wine is gross, but B, because I would spend $800 on something else.
Don't judge. Some people like wine. Calm down.
Sure. But it's like, oh, great, it's Brent Burns and it's the broadcasters. Like, how many times are they going to roll these guys out for an event? You know what I mean? It's like,
yikes.
Like it's just, and again, they're all great people and I love them all. But it's like, it's the same thing every year. Like, change it up, do something different, get some new personnel, do like, I don't know, maybe like, you know, beer garden games with Brent Burns. Maybe you play cornhole with Brent Burns, or you do lawn darts or shuffleboard or something. Something.
Yeah, but how do you do that virtually?
No, but I'm just saying, generally speaking.
Oh yes,
like change it up, like the same retread stuff every year. And like what's your tchotchke that you get out of it? A signed puck. Like,
well,
go to
on.
No. Go to Sharks team shop, whatever. Buy a puck. And then take your happy ass to practice when the coronavirus is over and get it signed. And it's like you're out $10 as opposed to $800.
Okay, now let me offer the other side of this. All the people that go to sampling with the Sharks, that go to the venue and are able to take part in this, for the most part, they're all local. They're already here. So this is an opportunity for fans that are outside of that live in other states, other countries, that can kind of get an idea of what the event is about, where they can still, you know, they can talk. Hopefully there's some sort of Q&A, or there's some sort of interaction. I don't know how many people they're going to allow on this Zoom call. I don't know where the limit is. They haven't publicized that, but it gives the opportunity for people that aren't in the greater San Jose Bay Area region, that if you're a Sharks fan that's a huge Brent Burns fan and you live in Minnesota or you live in Texas, well, let's be honest, if you live in Texas, you just go to Brent Burns' ranch, evidently. But if you live wherever and you would love to be able to ask Randy Hahn a question or something like that, this is that opportunity for those people.
Maybe, but
in that way, I can see it. But I do still I look at that price point of $400 a person, and that does make me kind of cringe just a scotch.
Yeah, it's and again, it's the similar thing that I have with the 91 Club, where it's like, I feel like you're setting a price on being a fan. You know, it's like, oh, like, okay, you want to be a fan, it costs this much dollars. And
no, I hear you. I get that, but I still recognize the effort, and I appreciate
100%.
the effort that they're trying to expand their fan base from outside the San Jose Bay Area.
I think the real kind of the nuts and bolts of it all is, I think $800 is a ripoff for a Zoom call link.
And
also, not only that, but so what's the deal? Like, is this BYOB or what?
Well, no, I told you part of the price is the Sharks have partners, whether it's Claude de Chance or I think Minor Winery is another one, that all of the people that purchase this are going to be sent, I think, 2 or 3 bottles of wine. And I believe besides the autographed puck, they also get a couple Sharks, some nice etched wine glasses. So, I mean, you are getting some value for your price. I just kind of go, when the live event in person, where you get to, where if memory serves, you get to sample all these wines. You're not going to get a bottle, but you get to sample a lot of wines. but you also get the glasses. You don't get a puck, but you get to sample the wine glasses, you get some wine glasses. But it's $25 less for a live event. I think at the price point here, I think if it's $250 a person, you're on to something.
Yeah.
And maybe one bottle less you ship to the person, or maybe you ship not as nice of a bottle or not as expensive of a bottle. I think there was a better price point they could have done. And who's to say that they won't do something else between now and the start of the season? Maybe they do another event like this next month, and they do it with, whether it's New Amsterdam Vodka, who's a sponsor with the NHL, or they do something with a local brewer and, do a beer thing. We don't know. Maybe they do, we've seen, the tank tailgate during FanFest where they got beers out there. Maybe they do something along those lines.
The best part of FanFest when they got rid of it, but whatever.
But anyway, who knows? I'm just saying. I was worried that we were going to spend too much time on that, and we did. It happens. Yeah. Another announcement: the Sharks will auction mystery pucks, and these actually look really cool. I got to say, because there's two different versions. One features the original Sharks logo and word mark, and the other one features the one that I don't like. No, I'm kidding. No, but
you were right the first time.
But it features two different ones. But here's my question with this. So these pucks are going to go on sale July 21st. There will be this auction for the mystery pucks. So if they do it like they did with the mystery hats about, I don't know, 5-6 weeks ago, I can't remember. I did buy one, though, because for me, I'm like, hey, it's charity. Absolutely. But here's the thing. They do an auction for a hat. And when it's the auction, it's like, okay, I want that hat signed. I want Evander Kane's signature, or I want Joe Thornton, or so on, whoever you want. They do that. Then after that auction was completed, the next day, then they just put the mystery hats available for sale for the standard price. And it was just like, when you ordered it, it was whoever you were going to get. It was just like going to a game. There's a bag. You have no idea what hat is in the bag, who signed it, but you give them the money, they give you the bag, you open it up. It's a big surprise. I'm wondering if the Sharks will do the same thing where after the auction's over, then they open it up and say, hey, we also have these mystery pucks, and, give us $30 and, or maybe if they're really smart about this, they say 1 for $30, 2 for $50 type of a deal to try to, push these pucks out there. But I'd buy 2 for $50. Absolutely.
I think it's just a matter of I see auction and it's like, okay, is it going to get to the point where an Erik Karlsson puck is going for $80?
Maybe more.
Which is, to me, is ridiculous. Again, just go to the Shark store, buy a $8 puck.
But not everybody has that option. What if you're a massive Erik Karlsson fan? Erik Karlsson. Here we go.
I know words. I have the best words.
Maybe you're American. Jesus Christ, I still can't get through it.
Check out the big brain on Brad.
Maybe you're an Erik Karlsson fan who lives in Ottawa and would love his signature on a Sharks puck. You're not going to be able to get to a Sharks practice, but here's an opportunity.
Yeah, but it ends up just being a surcharge for being far away.
Okay, well, you could say the same thing about autographed pucks on some disreputable websites.
Or jerseys.
Hey, now. But I'm just saying. Either way. So the 21st, if you're interested in mystery pucks, and I know that there's even a Facebook page out there devoted to them, go check that out. Follow the Sharks on social media. It'll be out there. Or actually, again, I should say at Sharks Foundation, or I'm sorry, at Sharks Care, because this is the Sharks Foundation thing. So anyway, if they put them up for a direct purchase, like I said, 1 for $30, 2 for $50, something like that. I'm not going to do the auction. That's just me. I'm not judging. But if they put them up there like they normally do, like they do with the hats, I'm down. Finally here, and God damn it, we're running long. I knew we would. Really quick. This kind of ties into the virtual wine event, but earlier the Sharks surveyed fans as to what events they would attend virtually. The options were the Fan Fest. I don't know how you make that virtual. The Sharks the Sharks 365 viewing party. I mean, I can kind of see that as being a thing where I guess everybody logs in to a call and everybody watches the game. But my whole thing then is, well, you're going to have some people watching, some people have Comcast, some people have DirecTV. If you're like Jerk, you fly your pirate flag as high as it'll go. So you're going to have people watching at different points. So that could be a tough, road to hoe, unless they provide a link to log into so everybody can stream it at the same time. There's the sampling thing, which they're already doing at the sipping. The one that really got me is Meet the Sharks. How do you do that virtually? I mean, okay, you could have these events where it's like, okay, we're going to have 4 Sharks on a call, but how many people are going to be on, and what is it? Is it everybody gets 30 seconds to talk to one player? I don't know. It's really tough. Select a seat. Select a seat could be very difficult to do virtually, but maybe not, because if you have a rep who's literally walking around SAP with a phone, and showing you, okay, here's the view from this seat. They sit down and hold the phone and, move it around. Okay. That is the one thing I think, virtually that could work.
But you could just, and again, I'm just being a real shrew this last segment, but
I know, man, what's your problem?
But, you could just as easily go onto StubHub and
the view from my seat website or
yeah,
whatever?
and I mean, it's, the Sharks could easily implement that technology, or
True.
that thing, and that's that's it. I mean, I
appreciate the Sharks are trying to
100%. I appreciate the effort, but a lot of it, like how I was saying earlier, there's some things where it's change it up, make it more fun. There are also some things where it's it's fine the way it is. Why do you have to try and make it something else? I get it, and people are apart in this time, but it's I don't get me wrong, I miss sports, but it's to your point earlier, AJ, it's sometimes it's nice to have a break.
Absolutely. Well, and my whole thing is, what could be fun is you have a 2-hour window every night, say 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific, and you have a game, whether Cards Against Humanity might be a little over the top. That's, they can get a little, depending on the people that are attending, it could go over the top. But what about a game night with a player or, a personality, whether it's Baker or Hahn or Ruzaneski or whoever, Brody, Jesus Christ, that guy literally has nothing to do. I'm kidding. But if you did something like that, where there's a 2-hour window and you get 10 Sharks 365 members or whatever, or it's a random thing you can, sign up for, through Twitter, they have a submission form, you sign up, and if you get chosen, you get chosen. And it's a thing where they put together a game, and maybe it's, I don't know, as far as I know, I think you can play Uno online. They've got a web interface for that, or Cards Against Humanity. Again, that's probably not the best.
Scribble?
yeah, Scrabble, whatever. Scribble, either of those. But even just a virtual game night with one player, and literally it's one of those things where it's okay, Melker Carlson's going to participate Monday night, and Sorensen on Tuesday night, and Joe Thornton on Wednesday night, something like that. I think that could be kind of Sharky, you could have him involved. Who? So anyway, again, appreciate the effort, but I do think they could come up with some new ideas, more innovative ideas. And if you decide to go with this game night, I will expect an invitation for the idea. Finally, quick burn here. Jeremy Roenick is suing NBC Sports for being fired. And his basis is anti-straight discrimination. Good luck with that working out. I'm on record as saying I don't think Roenick should have gotten sued for his comments on Spittin' Chicklets about Catherine Tappan. I don't think he should have been fired. Suspended, yes. Reprimanded, yes. Public apology on the air to Catherine, yes. Fired, I think that's too much. Jerk?
I think he should have been fired. I'm glad he was fired, and this little stunt proves that.
All right. Now we go to your Yolts. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not your Yolts. It's time. You knew it was coming, ladies and gentlemen. If you listened this long, the Fanatics fucked up once again. So The Coyotes, if you've not paid attention, are throwing it back to Kachina. I believe all of their home games next season will be played in Kachina jerseys. They have
it's their home games for the playoffs.
Okay, I would have swore I saw something that said next season all their home games in Kachina.
To your point, to your point though, they've been embracing the Kachina a lot since the shutdown started.
Yes, so they're throwing it back. The Senators of Ottawa, if you're not familiar, were reportedly looking at going retro as well until Fanatics let the cat out of the bag and confirmed it by posting a listing for a hoodie that featured this new retro logo. Now, is the logo like that different, or is the change that significant from what it used to be? And no, it's very minute. It's like instead of a gold outline on these like wings or feathers or whatever the hell they are, it's going to be a red.
Yeah, but that logo's tight though.
It's I wouldn't call it tight. It's better than what it was. I've never been a fan of the Senators logo. I think they have one of the worst logos in the league. But
Vegas has entered the chat.
You right. To me, it's like when it comes to a team logo, I think the Senators are one of the worst. When it comes to a logo that just features a letter, then I loves me some Ottawa because but either way, the point of the matter is that Fanatics screws the pooch yet once again. But now you have two teams that are throwing it back. The Sharks' 30th anniversary is next season. Are the Sharks going to throw it back? Please say yes, is what I'm saying. So I know we've taken June and most of July off, but we do have some new things that are in the pipeline. I'm really excited about one of them, by the way, and you'll see when that happens. But so remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll be one of the first to find out. Follow us on Twitter. Find everything on tealtownusa.com. And if you're wondering, yes, during the playoffs, we will have some things to say. Now, whether that's myself and Jerk, or if that's Puck Guy or whoever, if that's I'm assuming that's pretty much going to be a nightly wrap from Eric and whoever he joins him that night. But stick around because we're going to have some things to say. So, Jerk, last looks and where the people can find you.
All right. Yeah, well, hey guys, we made it. It's we're not doing we're not used to doing shows this late in the year, but here we are. No, it's been fun, fun to get back and chat. Very impromptu, I'll say. So that was
I've never thrown a show together this last minute before in my life, but it was fun.
Good to chat with AJ, obviously. Good to chat with Shang, good guy. Hockey's back. I'm very happy about that. Obviously, these playoffs are going to be unprecedented. I think there's going to be a lot of fun action to watch, and I'm really excited. If you haven't already seen on my Twitter, which you can find at @hockey_jerk on Twitter, I had the lovely Puck Guy 14 Kachina-ify my avatar. So that's a fun little thing to go check out.
Words. I have the best words.
Last thing I'll say is go Yolts.
Who's Yolts?
My Yolts. Very soon to be our Yolts when they beat Nashville.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You know what? I looked at that Kachina jersey and all I could think was,
it has changed my life.
That's all. I'm AJ_strong on all the social media stuff, so find me over there. I'm looking forward to watching any type of a sport that is live except basketball because
Fuck that guy.
I don't care about basketball, but anything else, sure, I'm down with it. Give me some baseball, give me some hockey. Eventually football is going to be here. It's been a very, very long spring turned into a very long summer.
One thing I want to say, I'm really going to commit to it this time. Go Quakes. Go Quakes. Soccer. Who? There it is.
Go Quakes. Sure. No.
Hey, they won today. So
I'm not. You mean yesterday? But I'm not one to No, I'm not disparaging on the Quakes. I will get into them at some time. Lord knows Ted is trying to talk me into that. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. Whenever episode 105 drops, you'll find out about it
December 1st.
Right? On our social media channels, of course. So with that, thank you very much for tuning in this time. Our special thanks to Shang Pang, now of San Jose hockeynow.com. Go check him out. And with that, we will see you all next time, whenever that may be.